Why not?
Jackie? Hey, welcome everyone to the October 11th Utilities Committee meeting. We're getting started right away with a foster pilot project update.
Are you guys seeing the agenda?
Uh-huh.
Okay, great. So we have had some issues with the ecology's perspective on interpreting the the foster legislation, basically. One of which is the fact that the model was never intended, the groundwater hydraulic model was never intended to be used to this minute degree in court, and that's according to USGS, who developed the model. They're saying it was never intended to be used that way. Representative Thuringer's position is that, well, that's the only best that we have. And so a group of us have gotten together and put together this letter that I included in the packet, saying, number one, that model is not intended to be used that way, and trying to use a scientific method in a non-scientific way is junk science and not to be used that way. The other main question that we have for them is that they are in the midst of trying to, sorry about that. They're in the midst of trying to change the municipal water law. And one of the issues that we have with the municipal water law is that it's not specifically spelled out in the water law that we can use municipal rights, which of course have more protections than regular water rights, that we can use muni rights for augmentation. And so if we can't use muni rights for augmentation, then where are we going to get the water? I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. So those are a few of the points that we are making to the legislature. What we're basically asking for, the Joint Legislative Task Force has one more meeting and then it's done. So we're asking them to introduce or support legislation to put in additional fixes. So we're kind of waiting to see what's going to happen with that. In the meantime, we're moving forward with trying to, we have two people that have expressed interest in selling us their water rights. And then of course the mitigation projects that we've talked about before. The reason I have City of Bremerton on there for augmentation is because if we are required to make allowances for potential water, what's the word that I want? For potential in-stream flow impacts, then we have to go begging to Bremerton to get them to basically allow X amount of, I think it's 0.08 cubic feet per second over the dam 100% of the time, 24 hours, 24/7, which of course is going to be problematic. So there are still some issues that need to be solved before we can go down the path of actually having Robinson Noble develop the reports of examination in order for ecology to adjudicate our water rights. So,
Jackie, that's quite a process. It doesn't.
Oh my gosh, yeah, and it just keeps getting more and more complicated.
So we're really not going to be seeing any resolution soon.
No, I was hoping to have the reports of examination done by the end of this year, but we can't seem to get any answers out of ecology that tell us which. We have several forks in the road basically, and we can't seem to get answers out of ecology to tell us which fork to take. And we don't want to go down the path of writing the reports of examination using the wrong fork and have them rejected and have to go back and do it again. So.
Okay, that's pretty frustrating.
Jackie, do you think anything will come out of this last meeting that they're having?
Well, I'm hoping so. We have a very good person pulling for us from Association of Washington Cities that is actually a part of the foster work group. He's actually on the task force. That's Carl Schrader, I think is how you say his last name. And he's part of the group that has developed this letter. We have 3 different water rights attorneys that are in the group. I think three different hydrogeological firms that are supporting it as well. And then, of course, all the purveyors that are in the foster group, plus others like Lakewood Water District has joined in the group that's pushing for water rights. So I think that overall, we represent a good portion of the population in Western Washington anyway.
The next time anyone asks why there are issues with providing more housing, et cetera, this is just one clear example of a roadblock. That's crazy.
Exactly. And if you had an opportunity to read the letter, that's one of the things that's really brought out is that, hey, we're tasked with, having to have growth according to the GMA, but yet you're stopping us, you're stymieing us.
Mhm.
So Jackie, the water right purchase, who would we be buying water rights from?
They're two individuals. One is one of the owners of it's not Morrison Gravel. It's another like gravel pit that has a water right. And
Port
then
Orchard Sand and Gravel.
huh?
Port Orchard Sand and Gravel, probably.
That doesn't name sound. I don't have it in front of me. I'm sorry, Rob.
Okay.
And the other
So
one
they're
is-
private wells that have been decommissioned.
No, actually, I believe they're both. I know that the one for Steve Childers is a surface water right to take water out of, that one happens to be to take water out of Salmonberry Creek in order for stock watering, which they don't do any longer. So
Okay.
it's a water right that came with the property when they bought it. I went to school with them and I had a conversation with them.
What's the cost to buy these water rights?
That's to be negotiated. Our consultants have an idea, but we're not really wanting to throw that number around until we get further along in the process.
And is that Chuck Childress?
No, it's Steve Childers. Childers.
Okay, Childers, okay.
Yeah.
Never mind. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
To be continued.
Yeah.
We'll talk dollars and cents offline.
Okay, splash pad retrofit update.
Is that you, Tony?
Sure, I can add to the conversation on that. So the modifications have been sent to DOH for approval. We're waiting on that. And Seconti in the meantime is just sort of waiting for an answer so they can give us a budget for those modifications
And DOH has had those plans for
for probably a couple of weeks.
couple weeks now. So it should be soon.
This isn't something we're doing this year, though. Next, right? Early next year?
No, it should be going right now.
Yeah, late fall, hopefully. Just depends on really on DOH and what the turnaround time is.
We
Gotcha.
want this thing done and operational by spring.
I understand. It's just that it's getting kind of late. Okay.
Cindy,
Uh,
can I back up for a second? Jackie, can you bring me up to speed on what value the surface water rights to Salmonberry Creek would provide the city?
Oh, because we can retire them and then there's that much more water in the creek that we don't have to augment.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, let's see, moving on to the Basin 7 sewer upgrades.
Where's Basin 7?
Basin 7 is Sedgwick and Sydney.
I think that was a Nick item.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Chris was going to put together a graphic. Is there some illustration of the area here?
There we
Is
go.
that showing or are you still seeing
Yes,
the?
yes, it is.
Okay.
So a couple of things have happened recently. Chris was notified that we are on the tier 1 list for funding to improve Sydney Road Southwest and to make safe routes to school. So basically doing sidewalk improvements, but not pavement improvements. And so as we wait for the official word that we've been funded there, we have 2 sewer projects in that basin that would need to go within that roadway. And so it is possible that we'll be needing to look at putting some pipes in the ground before we do sidewalk, curb, and gutter installation in the corridor. And so one of the improvements you see, there's 2 blue Ps on the map there near Ruby Creek. One of them is the Ruby Creek North Lift Station. One of them is the Ruby Creek South Lift Station. The Ruby Creek North Lift Station is currently constructed and is tied into the 6-inch force main that travels north to the Pottery Lift Station. But that 6-inch force main is at capacity for future connections from the South Basin. So the P to the south of Ruby Creek is a new lift station that we have to coordinate with Kitsap Transit to build. And from that lift station, we need to put in a 10-inch force main pipe in the ground, which fortunately those don't have to be buried very deep. They're relatively easy to install. And so our thinking is that as part of what is likely to be a sidewalk project that we're doing between State Route 16 and part south near where the South Lift Station is going to be, we're going to need to find some funding from our capital facility dollars or our general sewer fees to get that pipe in the ground and probably put it underneath the sidewalk.
Nick, is that project in the current budget?
It is not. This is something that's brand new from last week.
That's a problem. So, also, I don't believe Chris's Safe Routes project is anywhere near Ruby Creek. It's from the middle school to the grade school. It's not.
Right, which that 10-inch force main goes that entire length.
Correct.
So the need is to put the pipe in the ground at the same time that we would be doing the sidewalk improvement. I don't think the funding for that comes until 2024 or 2025, but we will probably need to put together design and specs for that and figure out alignment, because there is a water main there already. There's going to need to be a gravity sewer main that flows from north to south back to the Ruby Creek North Lift Station. There's already a 6-inch force main. And now there will be a second 12-inch force main. So there's a lot of pipe to put in that roadway that has to be sorted out.
Okay, so the best we're going to be able to do is when we start talking about the budget next Tuesday is to add that as a mid-year review item, because the budget's already baked.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we have some wiggle room in small stuff, but not $1 million, multi-million-dollar sewer projects.
Yeah, and this is not intended to be the full project. It's just in the location where we are already doing capital facilities improvements such as sidewalk, roadways. The intention would be the city would kind of also piggyback on that and include the sewer line in those areas. This project overall is a development driven or funded project. So as development expands in this area, they'd be the one paying for the full project. In this case, we're just trying to future proof and make sure that if we are doing any projects in the area, we would be making sure that we have those facilities in the ground. So we don't have to come back and redo any improvements that we already did in the roadway.
Yep, I hear you.
And one example, we have the Haven Townhomes project, which is across from the 236 apartments that are nearing completion. They're putting in their frontage improvements as part of their project, which is supposed to break. They've got permits in hand, so they're going to break ground as soon as we get through the wettest part of the wet season. We don't have any plans to get pipe in the ground before they build their sidewalks. And so that's a situation where, you know, it would be great if we could purchase some pipe and have that installed without having to come back and rip up the roadway later. But it's pretty late in the process for us to do that. And that's not something that we can put on that developer, because there's no relationship between the 10-inch pipe and their project, because that 10-inch pipe is just passing along their frontage. It's not serving their property.
Hmm.
I hear you, but we're up to our eyeballs in projects.
Yeah, we are aware of that. And we're just trying to make sure that we can avoid situations where we're redoing areas that we already have done in the past. So I think that Chris did get in the budget a 30% design or preliminary design for this basin here, which would help dictate any improvements we have in the future and be able to kind of get ahead of it in certain elements like this. So trying to reduce costs overall.
All right. Boy, sure would be nice to have that pipe in there. SRELF project, moving on to that.
Tony, was Chris gonna? Or Ian,
I wasn't sure if Chris was attending this meeting or not. Ian, do you got any knowledge on this one? I know what the project entails, I just don't know where we're at with it.
Okay, why don't you talk about what the project is first
You
then?
know, what is it?
So
Yeah, go ahead.
this project is replacing asbestos cement water main that lies in between Spokane and Tacoma and lays on Shrove Street. It's in pretty bad shape and very punky. We've had multiple breaks in this area. So it'd be a great project to get rid of some AC pipe. So we identified this a few months ago as a good project to move forward with. So I haven't seen this concept as of yet, so I'm trying to read what some of the red lines in there. I think, yeah, so they're going to actually tap into the 12-inch that comes from Melcher Pump Station to help improve some of the pressure issues that go through this area. If they didn't connect it, it wouldn't sufficiently fix the low volume that we have through there. Actually, I think the pressure was good. The volume was bad. So it'll fix both of those. And then also new service lines, new hydrants. It's pretty much what I know of it. Ian, do you got anything to add?
No, that's the kind of the extent of the project there. Is one of them that we're doing an in-house design for. And then we'll be going out to contract it. But as far as design, that'll be handled by Christian, Chris, and myself on that. And I don't know if we've gotten plans to you yet, Tony, but I know they're getting pretty close to finished up. I've seen them and talked with Christian about it a couple times.
So I think this is a 2023 project, right? Yeah, because
Yeah, by the time we
Correct.
get it out, it'll be 23.
Yeah. There's
Just-
money in the proposed budget for water line replacement. I know this was identified and so was the Bay Street projects in the second half of the biennium to replace the water line down there too.
Yes,
Correct, yeah.
project
So-
is on our list of problematic areas to be replaced.
Yeah, overall a reduction in operational costs and better performance in services.
Okay, and that is budgeted, you said.
Well, the budget isn't approved yet. It's in the proposed budget. Water line replacements, yes. And this,
Okay.
that's what this would be.
Okay, great. Any other questions on that? Okay, how about the annual road project in Pottery?
And this is really a Chris project. We got a grant for this safe route to schools in front of the middle school where it's 4 lanes. We're planning on reducing it to 2 lanes each direction, increasing the sidewalk size, and adding bike lanes. That's gonna be a 2023 project, I believe, also, and it's grant funded.
Going to 1 lane each direction.
1 lane each direction, where it's currently that short, from Lippert to the underpass, it's 4 lanes. And we're gonna take it down to 2 lanes each direction, improve the pedestrian safety, bicycle lanes, and so on and so forth, because we don't need a 4-lane road in this area.
Hence the word diet.
Road, yeah, that's right, road diet.
Yeah,
I've never heard that term used before like that, but is that something that's often used?
Less
yes, it's a pretty common term for, but it's just doesn't come up too often because not as often do you have too big of roads. Usually it's
Right.
the other way around.
Gotcha.
So predominantly we're going to be using striping to keep costs down on this to reduce that, install some bike lanes.
Oh, I see.
And then also with this will be some improvements to the crossing for the middle school there, just to make sure to reduce kind of the travel length for students crossing there. Some improvements for safety.
Perfect. Great, thank you.
You guys,
Okay.
do you expect this to be helpful in reducing the speed of travel, vehicle travel along that road?
Yes, that's the intent. Narrow lanes have been shown to, or narrower lanes and overall asphalt width have been shown to reduce speeds. And so that's the intent, is to try to both reduce conflicts of people trying to merge and also kind of narrow up the field of the road to slow down speeds.
Great, thanks. I've heard from a couple of folks that are running the senior centers along there that their folks are very afraid to walk on the sidewalk because of the speed of the vehicles going by.
Hmm.
So that'll be helpful.
And it'll also introduce some separation from the traffic and the pedestrians on the sidewalk by having the bike lanes.
Perfect.
Okay. Thank you. Now, on to the water sewer storm compliance program.
Yeah, this is my new program. You recall that last April, we were able to hire a new utility compliance specialist, Brian, who is in charge, he's charged with cross connection fog. Fog is fats, oils, and grease for the sewer collection system, and source control, which is the stormwater system, making sure that people are using the stormwater system appropriately. We're working, we've pushed, you guys have approved the source control municipal codes, and we're in the final throes of the fog municipal codes, and then cross connection will be happening on the heels of that. So we're hoping to have fog and cross connection new municipal codes by the end of the year, so that as of the first of the year we'll be up and running basically. We also recently with Mark's departure and Tony's moving into the public works director, one of the things that the city realized was that Tony had too many direct reports, or the operations manager had too many direct reports. So they realized that it was probably problematic for me to be tasked with actually operating the systems with no staff, because all the staff was under the operations manager. So all three of the coordinators, the sewer coordinator, water coordinator, and stormwater coordinator, and as well as the electrician, have now been moved under me, so that we have kind of formed a compliance team. We had our first meeting last Friday, very successful. I'm really thrilled to see, you know, what's going to come out of this and be able to move forward with the compliance program, and also move forward with our asset management program, because this team is kind of going to be the core of that. So some really exciting things happening there, I think.
Okay. All right, PFAS testing.
Okay, I don't know how much you've read about this or are familiar with this, but I kind of put together this little explanation thing about what PFAS are. They're in Teflon, they're in all around us and whatnot, but when they're really in a lot in firefighting foams. So around any military installations, but specifically Air Force or air, like Naval Air Station or something, is really problematic. Lakewood Water District, because they butt up against Joint Base, they have been testing for this for about 3 or 4 years now, and have actually shut down one of their wells because they found PFAS in there. I was able to swing a deal with the state. We got free PFAS testing for both of our water systems for this year in 2022 to get a baseline. The federal government has put out, they do UCMRs, which are, help me here, Tony, unidentified, what is it? Can you?
Contaminant monitoring report.
Yeah, there we go. And what it is basically is US EPA looks at what could be in drinking water, and then they pass some rules that say that we have to do testing, and they use that testing, then the results of that testing, to decide what new contaminants may need to be monitored for across the board. And they're called UCMRs, and this round in 2023 we will be having UCMR 5, so it's a 5th round. But because it's a random drawing on what water systems will be required to test. And lo and behold, the city of Port Orchard did not have a requirement, but McCormick Woods does. And because of the size of that system, the federal government will pay for the testing. So we basically found a way to find out if we have PFAS in city of Port Orchard water and get the testing done for McCormick Woods both for free.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Yeah.
Define free.
Free-
Nick,
We need to have somebody go out and take the sample and mail it in, so.
Yeah, I know, Jim.
Nick Bond gets his free money all the time, and then when we start spending it, we find out
How
we're-
free it
what
is.
wasn't so free because there's some string attached or the.
Always. Always. All right. Sounds good. Is there anything else we need to cover today?
Well, I do, since I've gone through the agenda pretty quickly, I would like to report that WaterPAC, which is Water Purveyors Association of Kitsap, has put together an informational video about water in Kitsap County and about how to and it's meant to be shown to like high school kids to try
cool.
and gender information. And if you're interested, I'd be happy to show it to you. It's about 3 minutes long.
We've got the time.
Okay, bear with me for just a moment here.
So this would be shown to high school students?
That it would not not necessarily high school, but it's to create interest in the water industry. So let me pause it. Oops, pause it.
But yes, they will be showing it through high school classrooms just for educational awareness.
Okay, is everybody seeing that guy standing there?
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Okay, super. Now if I could get to the play there.
City of Bremerton employee.
Oh,
Industry that is unique to you and your strengths. Help serve your community and find your path through WaterPAC. WaterPAC is an association of water utilities in the Kitsap area that work together to share resources and information in order to ensure that we provide our customers with safe, dependable drinking water.
I'm Indy Gervin, and I am a water service technician at Kitsap PUD. Every day is something new. Sometimes I get to take water samples. Other days I test backflow assemblies and work on our telemetry while out in the field. Generally, I'm on my feet moving from task to task, and it's rarely a dull moment. I started working here shortly after high school. I came to the job with my CDL, but most of my acquired knowledge comes from on-the-job training. This job continues to expand my knowledge base, which also expands career options for me here. My office is mostly outdoors, but what I love most about this job is helping people and make a difference in our community, which is pretty rewarding.
I am part of the administrative support staff at North Perry Avenue Water District. Something that's unique about my job is that I work with payroll, budgeting, and a little bit of finance. And that gives me a sense of fulfillment because I got my bachelor's of arts in business administration with a concentration in finance. This makes me feel like I'm well equipped to do the job that I am doing. I am using my degree in a field that I studied in, and I would encourage people to work in the water district because the person next to you is going to be working really hard for you, just like you're going to be working really hard for the person next to you. Water isn't going anywhere. It gives you a sense of job security because everybody is always going to need water.
I'm Lisa Campbell, an environmental technician with the City of Bremerton. After getting an associate degree at my local community college and then a technical degree in environmental sciences, I started out as an intern and a temporary employee. The City of Bremerton is a great place to work, and I learned a lot. I then acquired a regular position as an assistant and worked my way up to an environmental technician. I take samples, use field meters, write reports and plans, analyze data, and manage projects. I've been with the city over 20 years, and I'm still learning and growing. And I love knowing that I'm part of bringing safe drinking water to our customers, a critical resource. What we do is important to our community, and I'll be proud to keep it up until it's time to retire.
My commitment to the water industry spans nearly my entire adult life. I began in high school, continued all the way through my college career to the point where I am today. I've always found this industry to be an interesting and noble one to work in. It always gets me out of bed in the morning, be able to serve our customers and be able to serve my staff to make sure that we accomplish our mission every day.
Whether you have formal university education or no technical experience, if you are a self-starter, we will train you to effectively perform jobs here in the water industry. WaterPack is an empowering place to work, and opportunities to grow and widen career options are almost endless. Learn more about career opportunities in the water industry at www.waterpack.org/page. Get started today.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, the only thing that that kind of struck Tony and I, whoops, I'm sorry. That struck us about that was, if you notice we had. If you notice, we had a North Perry employee, a City of Bremerton employee, let's see, who else?
KPUD.
Water services, and it was all filmed at West Sound Utilities. So.
All right. Well, onward ho. I think we have a meeting in a little bit. So I guess we'll see some of you in a minute or
Less
3.
than an hour.
Yeah.
In a few.
Yep.
Okay, see you guys.
Thank you.